Good morning, First Unitarian. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's great to be with you all this morning. Would you please join? Let's start our service today with some singing. How about that? Would you please join me in singing? Would you rise in body and/or spirit? And when you join me in singing, it's 1023 in the Teal hymnal, if you'd like to follow along in the music. But the words will also be on the screens behind me. Diane, would you turn this up just a little bit, please? Here we go. Building bridges between our divisions. Reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. One more time through. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Welcome this morning. You can be seated.
Serve on the Board of Trustees here at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whether you carry joy or sorrow in your heart, you are welcome here. All people of goodwill are warmly invited to join us on this great journey of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. If this is your first time with us today, please let the offering basket pass you by. Your presence is gift enough. We hope you will join us for coffee and conversation in the community room after the service. We would love to get to know you and answer any questions you might have. You can also visit the information table next to the exit from the community room. If you are looking for ways to engage with our community and support the work of our congregation, please visit the opportunities table at the back of the community room after the service. There are a variety of activities that would welcome more helping hands. We would love to match you with an opportunity that interests you. Please remember to silence your cell phone and any other electronic devices. Welcome to worship. At this time, please take a moment to greet the people sitting around you.
Whoever you are and wherever you are so very welcome here. Please particularly if this is your first or second time joining us this morning, we're particularly glad you're here. Please join me in singing our song of welcome. We are many, we are one. The light of the world is within you. Sacred and worthy is your soul. A place has been made for you. I'm going to say it. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm going to call us to worship today with some words written by during the last few months by the poet Farah Tucker. I can no longer tell whether this grief currently crushing my rib cage is mine or yours. But perhaps that's the point. Maybe the illusion of separateness has dissolved, revealing the truth to those who didn't or couldn't or wouldn't see it. Maybe we can no longer deny the ways in which we belong to each other. I'm hanging on by a thread, and so are you, and him, and her, and them. But what if we tied our threads together? What if we stitched something strong enough to withstand the weight of it all, of us all? Big enough to make sure there's always a place to hold on to, even when parts of the fabric are threadbare. It's bleak out there, but also beautiful. Did you hear the birds singing their familiar refrain? Did you hear the students chanting in the faces of forces trying to force submission? Did you hear they were released from jail and headed right back to the front lines? Like, oh wait, did you think you could put this genie back in the bottle? Did you hear the sweet sound of thousands of eyelids lifting at the same time? This grief is bigger than we know how to hold, but we're holding it together. Not all of us, but more of us than ever before. Let's keep holding on, holding steady, holding each other. This is all we have left. This is all we have. This is all we ever have.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Yeah. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer. Only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Yeah. Picket lines, sister, and picket signs, sister. Don't punish me, sister. Sister. With brutality. Sister. Talk to me. Sister. So you can see. Sister. Oh, what's going on? 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 Do 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 do. Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong. Oh, but who are they to judge us? Simply 'cause our hair is long. Oh, you know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Yeah. Picket lines, brother, and picket signs, brother. Don't punish me, brother, with brutality, brother. Come on, talk to me, brother, so you can see, brother. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Tell me what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Good morning, First Unitarian. So this is a time for all ages, but this is also the conclusion of the religious education program for this year, which will start up again in the fall. So I don't need actually for the children to come down here. You can stay right where you are for the moment. This is a time for all ages, though. So many years ago, the animals in the great forest decided they wanted to start a school for their children. They wanted their children to learn from professionals, so they organized a school and hired some staff. The board of trustees met and decided to provide a standardized education curriculum to include swimming, running, flying, and climbing. All the animals would take all the subjects because it was very important that no child be left behind. They developed standardized achievement tests. Well, it wasn't long before there were problems. The ducks were excellent in swimming. In fact, the ducks were better than their teacher, but they made only average marks in flying and were very awkward at running and climbing. So the ducks had to stay after school for remedial running practice. Now, in running, the rabbits started at the top of their class, but they did horrible in swimming. They also insisted on hopping around, which made the teachers very concerned about hyperactivity. The squirrels were excellent at climbing and running, the very best students at getting up the standardized tree. But in flying class, their teacher made them start from the ground instead of from the treetop, and the squirrels were not mastering the course material. The eagles, however, were the real problem. In climbing, the eagles beat everybody to the top of the tree, but they insisted on using their own way to get there and were quite stubborn about it. The school psychologist diagnosed them as having oppositional defiant disorder. We could go on, of course, but you get the idea. The moral of the story is that when we assume everyone is the same, nobody ends up happy. One of the beautiful things about religious education in our tradition and Unitarian Universalism is we don't have a standardized curriculum. We know up front there are all kinds of learners in our community. We know up front the goal is not to master particular material, but to nurture curiosity and to nurture a sense of wonder, and for children to discover for themselves, within themselves, what it means to live a life of love and integrity and service. And we know that happens best when children feel wanted and when they feel loved and when they are accepted for all that they are. So today is the conclusion of our religious education program for at least the spring until the fall. And I want to take a moment to celebrate all the students out there who have made it through their school year, and a special congratulations to all of the graduates, and I mean from kindergarten and from grade school and from middle school and high school and college and more. And I want to take a moment to send out love and congratulations to all the teachers out there, one of the hardest jobs I know of. Especially in recent years, right, with political pressure and getting second-guessed by people who've never taught in a classroom in their entire lives. For all the meetings and all the early mornings and all the grading and all the paperwork and all the kids who don't fit into neat boxes of learning styles and communication skills or social skills or cultural expectations. These teachers who have to administer standardized testing with 100 non-standard students. Amen? Love and congratulations to all the administrators out there who have to take it from all sides. From the school board, from the parents, from the facility staff, from the teachers, and from the community, and do it all within a budget. Love and congratulations to all the parents out there who only want the best for their children, who get them up and get them dressed and get them fed and get them out the door every morning for years and years on end, who help with the homework or who argue about homework or who pull their hair out trying to get their child to take an interest in homework, who go to school meetings and fundraisers and sporting events and school plays and graduations, who pay college tuition or take out loans to pay college tuition, who miss their grown children, and even those who do not miss their grown children. Love and congratulations to all the communities that support the students, the teachers, the administrators, the parents, and the children, because heaven knows it takes a village to raise and educate a child into a young adult and eventually a thoughtful citizen. Amen? So I want to just take a moment, and this may be, I admit it, this may be just a hair awkward, because I want to thank personally all the religious education volunteers here at this congregation, and I'm going to name them and invite them to join me up here up front, but honestly, I've only seen one of them today. It's Memorial Weekend, so we'll just do the best we can. Kristen Atkinson, Gabriella Flora, and Charlotte Broad-Kern have been the Religious Education Committee, and I'm pretty sure none of them are here right now. Stu Ferguson, Dana Forsberg, Ellen Cahill, Mary Hilkin, Coral Causeway, Jessica Montgomery, and Sheila Hedgie. Yeah, come on up here. If you heard your name, and Coral's around the building somewhere.
I didn't really teach this year.
Oh, well, you have, though.
I have many
Yeah.
years, but not this year.
Well, I have a small token of
Oh.
appreciation,
Great.
a sweet basil,
Good.
and a gift card to Tattered Cover. Something to grow and
great.
something to read.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. And Coral just walked in. Did you come up here for just a second? Coral also happens to be our congregational president, in addition to being one of our volunteers for religious education. a small token of appreciation, a sweet basil to grow, and something to read. That is a gift card for Tattered Cover. Could we just have a really big hand for all the volunteers? Thank you.
There's no classes?
Would you please rise in body and or spirit and join me in singing out of the Gray Hymnal, number 318, if you want to follow along with the music. The words will also be on the screens behind me. We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. Pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
Good morning. My name is Mary Sullivan. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways is a sonnet by 19th century poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Let me count some ways how I love First Unitarian. I love, first and foremost, you all, the congregation. Also, our hard-working minister and staff, our caring of our congregants when in need, our superb music, our loving religious exploration program, our community concerts and fun events, and our wide-ranging social justice presence, past and present, in areas such as racial justice, homelessness, climate justice, reproductive rights, gun violence, reduction, not gun violence, gun violence reduction, immigration, and Middle East peace, just to name a few. These are some of the reasons why I love First Unitarian, and here are some examples of how I choose to show my love for First Unitarian, and so can you. Show appreciation to our minister, staff, and almost countless numbers of volunteers. Be a volunteer yourself. Check out the opportunity table at the back of the community room for some ideas. Extend a gracious and heartwarm welcome to visitors and new members. Show up at one of our social or social justice events. And of course, give of your financial resources if you are able, which is what I'm about to ask you to do right now. Please open up your wallet or give online because of everything this wonderful church gives to us. Thank you.
These gifts, freely given for the welfare of our community, are not taken lightly. Thank you for your generosity. Good morning, beloveds. My name is Eric Holwitz. I'm a humble servant of our community here at First Unitarian Society of Denver. I have some updates on some members of our congregation this morning. First off, Don Martell, the husband of Mary Hilkin, fell last week and has a hairline fracture in his pelvis area. Following a hospital stay, he is now at the Center at Lowry for rehab services. Not sure yet when he will be coming home. He is not really up for visits, but it is okay to send a card or a text message. And secondly, Tina Proctor had abdominal surgery on Tuesday, May 21st, and is recovering nicely at home. She really enjoys cards. Strongly recommend sending Tina a card if you have a moment. This morning, as the spring sunlight breaks through the trees and the beautiful windows of our sanctuary warms our bodies, let our hearts also be warmed and our souls stirred by the world around us as we wayfare that long road towards peace and justice. For those of us struggling financially to survive, this is your community. For those of us who are battered, broken, and lonesome, may this be your house for hope. For those of us seeking wisdom, purpose, and deeper meaning within our lives, may this be your home for growth and reflection. In the great web of interconnectedness of which we all are a part in our beck and call that all souls are sacred and worthy, let us hold up those precious souls who suffer torture, death, hunger, homelessness, and hopelessness at the hands of greedy and petty men who crusade for power eclipses their knowing of shared humanity. Let us hold up all of the children born with the same wants, hopes, and dreams as they strive to survive in war-torn places of Yemen, Ukraine, and Palestine, that they may have peace and a world worth living in. Once again, I call upon Israel and Hamas to cease fire. Cease fire, for an eye, the whole world is blind. Cease fire, as the death of your child and mine makes no one safer. Cease fire, and let us beat the swords into plowshares. Cease fire, for the voices dying in the wilderness cry out for peace and freedom. In a moment, we're going to hear a song called Dayuna Naish. Before this, please close your eyes for a brief moment of meditation and repeat the English translated lyrics after me. Let us live in peace. Let us live in inner peace. Let us weave our dreams together. Let us die in peace. Amen.
Dayuna Naish Bisalam Daunanaish biaman Nansish Alam Daunanamut Bisalam.
Good morning. It is a great honor to be up here today. First, I would like to thank the Reverend Moran for the opportunity to address you. Ann and I have been members of the church for over 15 years. In those years, we have built deep, lifelong connections and met so many wonderful people. For this, I am extremely grateful. In the audience today, I see more of the amazing and wonderful people I have met more recently and have grown close to over the last 8 months. It warms my heart that you are here today. I must confess, when Mike asked me to do the service, I was very excited, and it was time to pick a topic. I set the bar high. Finding inspiration in a time of confusion and disbelief. And if that was not enough, I chose to sprinkle in some low emotion topics like Palestine, connection, generational inequality, to name a few, and then reality set in. Don't panic, I told myself. So if I overpromised and underdeliver, I ask for your forgiveness. I begin with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who reminds us that the call to peace is not an easy road. A man whose words remind us of the courage, the sacrifice, the discomfort caused by speaking the language of peace. His words ring true today as they did in 1967 when the war in Vietnam raged. A time comes when silence is betrayal. Today I have chosen to speak. Some about the grand injustice we are witnessing today, but also about the beauty we can find during these times. For those who do not know me, my father is from Jaffa, today a suburb of Tel Aviv. The entire family of 50 people were displaced in 1948, first to Lebanon and then to Iraq, where I was born. We were a family of orange farmers who grew oranges for export to Europe. I grew up with many stories of my dad as a handsome young man gallivanting around town and swimming in the Mediterranean Ocean with his cousins. As a quick side story, several years ago, I discovered that my Israeli neighbor, who is roughly my age, grew up in the same neighborhood in Jaffa. On one of my dad's visits to Denver, we invited my neighbor over to meet each other. They shared many stories of the same landmarks and hills they climbed. As young men almost 30 years apart, it was very touching. Several days after my dad left, my neighbor confessed to me that his father, a 19-year-old man in 1948 and decorated soldier, was probably one of the soldiers who was involved in displacing my family from the area. It was a bitter, hard pill to swallow, but I got over it. For those who have read the book The Lemon Tree, it was like my father had been thrown in the book. I never mentioned these details to my father. He was a very gentle and kind person, but I could never understand how he never seemed to harbor any resentment towards those who inflicted the trauma of taking everything he knew and loved away from him. But somehow he was able to move on and build a happy life. He stands as a true inspiration to me of overcoming hardship and persevering under terrible circumstances. Several months ago, we had a service here in the church to remember those who had died in Gaza and the West Bank and, yes, Israel. It was a way for some of us who have been deeply affected by the violence to come together in a safe place and unapologetically express our grief, sadness, anger, confusion, and helplessness of the situation. We had speakers ranging from Park Hill's Imam Ali, Alex from Jewish Voice for Peace, Linda and Rima, who may be here today. We ended the evening with a grand meal provided by Rima from Jerusalem Cafe, and it was wonderful and beautiful. Muslims, Jews, Christians, Unitarians, and many more held each other and held space for each other to process the pain we feel for those less fortunate than us trapped in what today has become a humanitarian catastrophe of epic proportions. Although we did not read this poem by the rapper Macklemore, I wanted to share some of it as it gives flavor for some of the readings that night. When I say free Palestine, it is not because I am against anyone. It actually means we should protect everyone. It means equality for all, respect, peace, and love. It means the right to exist regardless of what sector you're from. My intention is not to offend anyone. I want every soul in this place to feel the reflection of love. But there's innocent humans out in Gaza getting murdered by our dollars, and those precious human lives are an extension of us. And those voices are saying, you'd better step up for us. I love my Jewish brothers and sisters, and me saying free Palestine is also rooted in your protection. And there isn't a drop of anti-Semitic thought in my head or my blood. Never again means never again for all. Have we not learned the lesson? The self-centering around what is potentially threatening to us is actually at the root of what disconnects us all. I will finish the rest of the poem at the end of my talk, but I wanted to pause for a moment and speak about connection and how it is precisely through connection to others that I find inspiration when the outlook seems so bleak. I have always found that it is through getting to know others that new worlds open up. It is how I have managed to find inspiration. I will share with you that the last 8 months have been emotional for me. These emotions fill me with pain in early morning hours as I lay awake at night, unable to sleep. I cycle through these emotions like one who cycles through deep emotions of grief, moving from helplessness, anger, and hope. I feel helpless as I watch those that I follow on Instagram asking the world to show mercy. And then anger sets in, probably where I spend a lot of my sleepless hours. I get mad at the cowardly Ivy League educated politicians who still seem to not be able to tell the difference between right and wrong and cannot find it within themselves to see their own children's eyes and the eyes of the children of Gaza. It has always been difficult to have a normal conversation on the topic of Palestine and Israel. Post-October 7th, it seems like those got worse, where people did not feel they could have a discussion on the topic. It's complicated. They've been fighting for decades, and it's just the way it's going to be. I just don't know enough about the subject. I don't want to take sides. I propose to you that this is precisely the time for connection and conversation. Because, for example, when we connect and we begin to meet different people protesting in the streets or something magical happens. I have met so many good people on this journey, people from the church like Arnie and Eric and Kathy and Nate and Laura, and just to mention a few. What happens when we go out and meet people protesting in the streets, we begin to realize that we all care about the same things. All the complicated stuff melts away. We begin to realize that we all care about things like safe and prosperous lives, a bright future for ourselves and our children, and a way for our children and loved ones to grow up well and raise their own kids well. And we begin to understand that these are the same things that all of humanity cares about. And taking it one step further, we begin to understand the meaning of the unity that makes us one. We are inextricably bound by each other, that even the oppressor and the oppressed are bound together. For the chains must be tied to both. And the oppressor will never be free until the oppressed is free. Nelson Mandela, in his book, The Long Walk to Freedom, tells us, I knew as I knew anything that the oppressor must be liberated, just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of injustice and narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just surely as I am not free when the freedom is taken from me. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. And Nelson Mandela intimately was aware of the plight of the Palestinian people, and I quote, "But we know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." A similar sentiment was expressed by Angela Davis and June Jordan, and I quote June Jordan, "I was born a black woman, and now I am become a Palestinian. Against the relentless laughter of evil, there is less and less living room. And where are my loved ones?" And Angela Davis quotes, "Racism in the U.S. is very much connected to apartheid in South Africa, which is very much connected to apartheid in Israel." Shifting gears a bit, I wanted to address why the issue of Palestine, a place so far away and relatively unknown, has such an oversized impact on us here in the U.S. and has an especially large impact on the younger generation of students in college. I believe it is because it symbolizes so many things the younger generation has grown frustrated with us on, to the point where they no longer trust empty promises they are given. They have demanded serious action on climate change, and we have done very little. They have demanded more affordable health care, education, and seen none. They have demanded higher paying jobs and have gotten gig jobs in return. They've asked our governments to level the playing field and reduce privilege and the opportunity gap, but instead they watch big companies get bigger and bigger and refuse to share the wealth. My theories were not developed in a vacuum, but rather from spending more time with younger people. Several weeks ago, I spent some time in the area encampment, talking to students and those who were there camping out. It was powerful. It was powerful to watch new connections being made by so many young people. There were groups playing music, dance, groups studying, praying, eating. There were powerful speeches by local people and big names like Angela Davis. There was a makeshift library, study area. There was a children's play area, a makeshift clinic, an area for art, and many student painting posters. I heard professors tell their students that they had turned the quad into a hallowed ground where for years to come the quad would have an important significance on where students stood on the right side of history and the right side of humanity. I met students who are Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Christians, agnostics, atheists, just to mention a few. We held our Middle East Justice group meeting in the Quad. One of the students who I met on the campus had seen me and Anne bring thousands of small flags representing the children who had died in Gaza to other protests and asked me if I would be willing to bring them to their area campus. I happily agreed and brought them the next day. Together with about 30 or 40 students, we placed over 10,000 flags in the ground covering a large area of the Quad. I always find the act of placing each individual flag to be highly repetitive, but also meditative. But it really hits you at the end when you look up and finally realize the sheer scale of the area covered and how each flag represents the life of one child. I saw several students break down with tears running down their cheeks. I was asked by a couple of Buddhist students if I wanted to pray with them. But I think the most touching connection I made was on that day was actually on the day that we returned to remove the flags. I was approached by one of the students who was so thankful for the flags. He said that over the 2 weeks of coming to the encampment and camping out, he would have days where he would lose hope that any of their actions would make a difference, but then he would spend time next to the flags and remind himself of why he was there. It was for the people of Gaza and Palestine. He was insistent in wanting me to know that the flags were one of the most impactful items for him personally. What I told him was that his presence and kind words were one of the most impactful connections for me. These are the type of connections that change us and make us understand the world in a different way. They are the type of connections that inspire me, make me believe that change can happen. The type of connection that inspires me to want to do more for those who surround me and those most in need. 2 weeks ago, we heard Mike's sermon on war and Sam Keen's Faces of the Enemy. We are reminded of what it takes to demonize the other, erasing their image as a human and turning them into the beast. Well, the only way this can be done is by breaking the connection between the two. It is exactly what has happened in Israel and Palestine. It is for this reason that I have never believed a two-state solution would ever be possible. It is only after the connection is reestablished and the wounds are healed that progress can be made. I return now to finish the Macklemore poem, continuing back to where I left off. The self-centering around what is potentially threatening to us is actually at the root of what disconnects us. Comparative suffering leads to believing the lie. There is a them and there is an us. It is a lie. We don't own this earth. We are just guests here. At some point, we drew lines in the mud based on our color of our skins and the gods we worshipped and the divine up above. And historically, we have exploited black and brown bodies to climb up the rungs. But the latter doesn't work when it depends on the oppression of some. And I've been hearing the earth cry lately. The deepest cries, "Oh my, what have we done?" We have some work to unlearn and rewire the plugs, and there's short-circuiting in this selfish cycle. We are blind to the drugs that we are addicted to, me, myself, and I, and not us. And in this moment in time, we're being called to rise and become. See ourselves in the pain of others and not separate from them. And I'm going to say it till I die with my chest to the sky. Free Palestine, the message is love. Thank you.
If you are able, throughout the song, please join us in singing the chorus. The words will be displayed on the screen. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. Bombs over Baghdad, trying to get something we never had. Let's start with a good dad. So real, but it's so sad. While we burning this incense, we gonna pray for the innocent. 'Cause right now it don't make sense. Right now it don't make sense. Let's talk about Chi-Town. Let's talk about Gaza. Let's talk about Israel. 'Cause right now it is real. Let's talk Nigeria in a mass hysteria. Yeah. Our souls were brought together so that we could love each other, brother. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. It's why we are here. Why we are here. No guns made in Harlem. But yet crime is a problem. He wanna shine, they wanna rob him. Single mother, where they come from. How we gonna save the nation with no support for education? 'Cause right now it don't make sense. Right now it don't make sense. Let's talk about our part. My heart touch your heart. Let's talk about living. Had enough of dying, not what we all about. Let's do more giving, do more forgiving. Yeah, our souls were brought together so that we could love each other. Sister, we are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. 'Cause we are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here.
Please join me in singing our closing affirmation. Behind all our differences and beneath our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together throughout all time, through life and death. and the space between the stars. Throughout all time, through life and death, and the space between the stars.
Friends, be noble, for you are born of the stars. Be humble, for you are made of the earth. Be kind, for you belong to each other. Amen. Our service is ended.